must be our goal and our guide. And all that we strive for as a human family, dignity and hope, progress and prosperity, depends on peace. But peace depends on us.
It is ridiculous and it is against the laws of nature that we can have somebody sitting pretty who takes home more money than the credible entrepreneur who is doing actual production of goods and services.
We always say it as it is.
It is only in this country that when a thief is arrested, you hear elders from their tribe saying, "He is our son and he is our thief."
If you are deviant
Yes.
and I call you leader,
Yes.
probably you are already a leader, but you are leading in the wrong direction.
We want to see the role of the youth
Yeah.
in the security,
Yes.
governance,
Yes.
and development.
The youth that I meet and work with here, you know, we call them the millennials and X's and Y's, and it's not, they don't necessarily want to live like their fathers and grandfathers,
Yes.
do business like their fathers and grandfathers. They're more independent, they're better educated, and they're the ones that are making everything move in this region.
We look at the issues, we talk about issues that impact people's lives in Africa.
The African peoples themselves continue to cheer bad leaders, and because they cheer them on, they continue to be misled.
Let me ask you, doctor, would you rather be somebody who does not enjoy so much freedom but you are rich?
Yes.
Or you'd rather be poor who you are actually imprisoned by the poverty itself?
My goal is not to come here and say, I want the majority ownership, I want to own this, I want to own that, I want to do this. My goal is we all make money and we're all happy, and I help build a big business here.
Punchline is for Africa, with Africa, from Africa.
Conflicts in Africa have become the daily occurrence. Daily occurrences in many countries, in the sense that almost every African country, apart from the few, there is tension. One wonders where this tension at times comes from. Some of it comes from elections, a manufactured election, a disputed election results. Some come from territory. Some are terrorist-based, like that of Somalia and Boko Haram. Some are because of regime change, purely sponsored by external forces. But 95 to 96% of conflicts in Africa occur through the sponsorship of external darker forces that would like to benefit out of the spoils of war. George Soros stands as one person who has always been and will always be and shall be until the end a man who sponsors any type of chaos, who does not follow which type of chaos he is sponsoring, as long as it is chaos that can topple a person he hates in Africa. Many African countries are undergoing this pressure, this tension, especially those that are conducting elections and whose timetable for elections seem to be coming in the near future. As a result of that, Africa stands warned, and Africa must stand on alert about the external forces that want to dismember this continent and create heavens of war, create insecurity, create mirage peace that Africans have fought after 66 years of gaining political independence. It is therefore my submission that most African countries if they don't look at what George Soros is doing, we might have a shocker one morning, one by one, African country being pushed out and the leaders being pushed out of power. The events, therefore, in South Africa, as proved from these detailed undercover operations, they prove that George Soros indeed has a say in South African politics. And therefore, we want to urge Africans and African heads of state and their military and intelligence systems to be careful and watch on the amount of money that is being pumped into their economies, because some of the money could be George Soros money that will end up to bring public disorder in most of the African countries. Thank you very much, viewers. Viewers, good morning. This morning, I want to address the issue of Uhuru Kenyatta's legacy. The legacy of His Excellency President Uhuru Kenyatta of Kenya keeps on moving, keeps on going forward and forward. Since the handshake in 2018 that brought about the peace, the tranquility, the unity of purpose, President Uhuru's star has been rising. All over Africa, people are thinking of using the model that Kenya used to stop any form of violence, chaos on the streets after elections. As you know, all of you are aware that elections in Africa produce two things: after or before or after the voting. Disputed elections, winner takes it all, loser doesn't accept the results. But the Kenyan model takes us miles and miles away from the normal type of democracy. The democracy, a negotiated format, a consensus format. A democracy that gives consensus a chance. A democracy that talks about the future of a country, the unity of a country, as opposed to a fragmented country, polarized country, where most African countries find themselves in. We have seen in the last 10 years or so, most of the elections in Africa have been contested by the opposition. Very few people in Africa, countries in Africa, where opposition has conceded defeat and come up to congratulate the winner. We have seen the South African model has worked very well. The Ghanaian model has worked so well. I don't see any other country in Africa where the models have worked well. I thought it would be Sierra Leone, but today we see Sierra Leone going back to the same ethnic tensions, as you can see from the reports that are circulating in the international media and the local media. So elections in Africa are contentious issues. They create a contentious position, create a departing point for the people of Africa, of that particular nation. The legacy of Uhuru Kenyatta, therefore, will be remembered for having brought the tranquility that we have today, the peace, the new format, the new tool of having a better organized civil Africa, an Africa without violence, an Africa without chaos after elections, when the opposition accepts to work for the interests of a nation, not personal interests. This has worked in Kenya, and thank you very much, Your Excellency President Uhuru Muigai Kenyatta, for the tenacity and the steadfastness that you have guided this handshake up to today. For those who want to mutilate the handshake, belittle the handshake, one lesson they should learn is to look at Libya. Libya was once a territory we all respected. It is no more. Let's keep the handshake and the legacy of President Uhuru Muigai Kenyatta. Thank you. Good morning, viewers. Welcome to Punchline Africa TV. Punchline Africa TV, broadcasting all the way from Nairobi, the Republic of Kenya. Viewers, wherever you are in the world, sit back and enjoy what we are going to bring out here to you and to all our patron, those who have, yes, we call them patrons? No. Patrons, yes. All of the patrons, those who have been following us for the last 3 years. Viewers, today's topics are topics that will bring life to our Africa. The first topic is, of course, the legacy of President Uhuru Kenyatta. Uhuru Kenyatta legacy, achievements, obstacles. Every morning we look at achievements. What has President Uhuru Kenyatta achieved? What can he achieve in 36 months? Remember, next week it will be 35 months, or the week after next week. So I keep on keeping this calendar because I want people to know, to put the president on alert that there is no time left. We have to choose what we want to go down with. And as I've said, I've already booked my place to write the memoir. The memoirs of the president, I'll write them, of the legacy. That is the only contribution that I'll get from the Republic of Kenya on or any gift that I'll get from Kenya, writing the memoir of the president, and I'll go home ye. We can meet in African Union. So, good morning, Africa. The legacy, the rotten court because of incompetence. That's agenda number 2. And number 3, with me in the studio to listen, to talk, to interrogate, to put out an opinion. We can see people on the streets of Nairobi rehearsing a regime change. Have you noticed something going which is wrong in Kenya?
Do you mean the senators?
Yes.
It was just this morning.
The other day were
The governors.
today senators, tomorrow MPs. So what are you teaching the public? That you can simply, if you have a disagreement, you simply walk into the streets of Nairobi and go and surround the court.
Are there no provisions in the law that in case, like the senators, they have a problem with certain bills that were passed in parliament without
Yes.
their consultation? Is there no provision in law where they can actually sort out this thing without going
Exactly.
to the streets?
These are the things. Let me introduce my co-host, Miriam Ogotu.
Good morning.
Good morning. Yes, go ahead.
As I was saying, I mean, surely there has to be a mechanism that has been put in place in line with our constitution that should there be a problem between how bills are passed, because Parliament is supposed to, after they approve a bill, is supposed to go to the Senate, and Senate is saying that some bills were passed without their knowledge, and now they want to take to the streets to make sure. I don't know what is going to happen after that. But I believe there's a provision in the constitution that allows for such things to be sorted out without necessarily resulting to go to the streets. I want to believe there's something like that, a safeguard like that in our constitution.
Yeah, Miriam, I think we have reached a litigating state. Kenya has become a litigating state. A state that litigates on everything, that goes, that passes, that comes in, that annoys any person, whether in the home or elsewhere. It remains a litigating state. A state that wants to finish everything in court. That is not a problem. Judicial processes are part of democracy. But the problem we have is that we have rotten courts. Rotten, incompetent courts. These courts now look at the senators. How much money will the lawyers, legal lawyers or advocates, defense lawyers, get out of this process and share with the judges? We have corruption hitting hard in the courts. Resorting to courts is not a problem. It's part of a democratic dispensation. But are the courts worth going to? Do we have the competent courts to make decisions? Courts that are being held ransom by Deputy Chief Justice and the judge, Chief Justice himself. They seem not to care about what happens in these courts. Speaking about the courts, viewers, I was watching the Australian television last night. I didn't sleep. I wanted to see what exactly, they have this morning in Australia.
For Esther Arunga, yes.
Yes, Esther Arunga was sentenced to 10 months
Parole.
and given parole to go and serve this 10 months in the community. Therefore, she's free because she has served some time in jail.
She already did, yes.
Yes, she served some time in jail. So the judge, I looked at the whole audience, I was more tense because the truth is that I know this young girl. From here, Nairobi, I knew her.
Do you think she's just a victim of circumstances and maybe decisions young people make when they're young and just naive?
The case of Arunga is a diminished return.
What does that mean?
Diminished return is a process where if you do it, I will kill you. If you say, I am the one, I will kill you.
She was threatened.
The process of diminished return is like the process of Ongwen, the Ugandan rebel, who is in court.
Which I have the news here this morning.
Yes. The Ugandan rebel
The ICC.
of the ICC. Diminished return. If you don't come back with the head of the person I sent you, you will be shot.
To be dead.
And if you escape, we shall kill your children.
And you say he was taken as a
Yes.
child soldier.
Diminished return in law gives you advantage. And any judge, not Maraga, I'm sorry, Maraga will not give you because he doesn't know what it is. I don't know whether he knows it, but the judges here might not give you. But the judges in those developed democracies look at all aspects. And they have looked at all aspects of Esther. The way the husband has behaved, demonic behavior, the cult, saying God saw me yesterday, God asked me to do this. But speaking about God, I think Esther has a God. There is a God, powerful one. This was something with all the media utterances, the surrounding showbiz, the showbiz that surrounded her case. It could have landed her in very big problem.
Yes.
But the judge says 10 months, serve it, paroled, go home. Don't make any.
So the husband's case is still continuing.
Yes, the husband now, because they have found the real victim. Now the husband will be convicted, either to life sentence or I think it's life sentence.
And his mother is very upset back here in Kenya. He says Esther has set up the son. But the police did the investigation. It's Australia. I mean, some of these things you cannot go there and corrupt.
The mother can also get upset, but the mother could have also got upset when the baby died. You see me, I have a different version about this type of operations. When you see Mr. Itumbi glorifying and sitting in court about Maribe, when people don't value Monica Kimani, nobody talks about Monica Kimani. Nobody talks about Sharon Otieno. We are busy with our cameras to look at even the interview. Even when you go to the Milimani court, the journalists will run to Obado.
He's the newsmaker.
But the journalists will not run to Sharon Otieno's, relatives, or Oyamo, who has been denied, his freedom because he is not on the status of the governor. It is sad, very sad, therefore, that for me, I cry for that. I always look for that lower part of where the law has fixed people. Is where I want to stand up. When I came here and I saw the law had fixed, the investigations were shoddy, the law had fixed the Ocampo 6, I looked at this case will not produce anybody. The victims will die twice. I better stand. Yes, victims of the Kenyan cases died twice. Because of the shoddy investigations that were conducted by Rui Moreno Ocampo. He killed the victims. So I always look at Monica Kimani's parents. Nobody interviews Monica Kimani's parents, but people are busy to interview Mr. Itumbi and the showbiz woman.
Maybe they don't want the limelight. They want
no,
to be private.
I mean they don't. Journalists don't even go there
because they're still mourning.
Please, ma'am, listen to me. Miriam.
Yes. There are people who just love privacy.
They don't go there.
Yes.
They don't. The journalists, we are coming to it. We are coming to the journalists in Africa. We are coming to the journalists in Africa. Our topic is the media in Africa patriotic or captured by external forces?
Yes.
A very good topic.
It is.
That we want to enjoy. We want to see whether journalists in Africa are interested in Monica Kimani's case, parents and the relatives and the people, brothers who have lost theirs, or they are interested.
The loved one, yes.
They love the ones that make news, the showbiz, the Itumbis, the Marebe, the Joey, because they are showbiz, working with the pistols and so on, and the showbiz, I'm working in the president's office, I can go to court and the showbiz. But the parents have lost someone. No media house goes to these guys to ask them, how are you? Have you ever seen Kimani, the father and the mother being interviewed? No. The brother? No. People run for, even the cameras in the court, they don't even focus on these bereaved families. Sharon Otieno, they focus on Obado. Because Obado has money, still has helicopters to move, still has the will to remove evidence, erase it from planet Earth. So we have a problem here. And that problem is what we are going to look at in the second part of our show. Otherwise, let's begin.
Let's begin the show.
Kinjuri in trouble over 1.8 billion maize cash.
It's ridiculous, and I was shocked.
I've written this morning, I don't know whether you have seen. Always pick it from the legacy trend about what I write. You'll enjoy, if you want to read it, read the legacy trend, the holding of the legacy, the finding out whether the legacy will hold or not. I've told the world that Kiyunjuri is an accident in happening, in waiting.
It has already happened.
No, it is, a bigger one is going to come.
1.8 billion Kenya shillings
The president
had already been withdrawn.
President Uhuru Kenyatta has been warning this guy every function. You remember the Nairobi agriculture show? The president told him, my friend, I think pull up your socks. Every time the problem comes from this guy. This is an accident in waiting. This is an accident that the president should avoid. This is an accident. The Ministry of Agriculture is the backbone of all ministries in this country. Without food, you cannot sit in a cabinet meeting. Without food, you cannot walk. Without food, you cannot talk. Without food, you cannot demonstrate. Without food, you cannot read the news. So the Ministry of Agriculture is a very important ministry in any institution in African country. It is very crucial even in Britain and other American. A nation that does not feed itself, a nation that goes on showing the international community it is bad love, is not a nation. Kenya surprises so many people. These are some of the negative factors that keep on coming when we are doing an index about a country. Kenya is a hub of Africa. For Kenya to be exposing itself every year that we now need maize to feed our people, yet Israel can feed its people from a desert. It's very, very, very regrettable. I am sorry. I have to say it as it is, because Uganda does not buy food from outside. Uganda eats its own food.
It does.
And Uganda even makes cows to have birth certificates.
I saw it.
Yes.
It's in the news.
So that there is a difference between where the cow has come from and when it was born. I think there are certain things that leaders do which are very enjoyable. Museveni has directed his Ministry of Agriculture to make sure that each cow has a birth certificate. And it is very easy to differentiate the meat from rotten areas to the meat where it has come. Because now European Union is looking at the quality of the meat. Where is the meat coming from? Museveni is ahead of that. And congratulations, which Kenyans have not thought about, which Tanzanians have not thought about. A birth certificate for each cow is all right. When was it born, the treatment, you know, you can now call that this cow was born in Uganda, so that it also in a birth certificate, these cows that Turkana and West Pokot thieves who are around there, cattle rustlers, who are still disrupting people in the Capedo Triangle. If you are caught with the cow without a certificate, then we have a problem. It means it's not a Ugandan cow. It will be returned back to Kenya. That one, congratulations, Museveni. Thank you for doing that. Let's be very honest. Give a credit where it is due. If everybody right now in Uganda has an ID, is going to have an ID, a Huduma type of number. When Kenyans were told to have Huduma numbers, people refused. They didn't know that they would become a trick. Now, the same people are now saying, government, bring it back, let's register. You see that?
But it will be a continuing process the same way with
Yes,
national
but
identity.
why did you refuse first?
Because there's a bill for it right now. It will be made mandatory for you to access any government service. You must have...
Exactly.
So there's a bill being prepared for it, Kenyans out there. If you miss to take it, well...
Yeah, exactly. Let's talk like Africans. A Huduma number would help you not to carry ID, not to carry passport, not to show where you have been. Once you do your work in Kenya, you need a Huduma number. It will mean that you will tell more details about you. Behind there will be data. And that is why we in Africa must speak and continue to speak. The problem of our not speaking is what we get here. What we get the Kinjuris. The type of men that we get, the Kinjuris.
Yes, and just on that, the Agriculture Ministry regularly withdrew 1.8 billion Kenya shillings from Strategic Food Reserve Trust Fund account without approval of the board, putting embattled Cabinet Secretary Mwangi Kiunjuri on the spot. Just that enough. The fact that he authorized that to be withdrew without the authorization of the people who were supposed to authorize the fund that is enough for him to not be allowed to be the CS of education, even before we go further than that. So this is in the Star newspaper, and it continues to say, in a strongly worded letter to Agriculture Principal Secretary Hamadi Boga, Strategic Food Reserve Chairperson Noah Wekesa said the payment was outright illegal. On that grounds alone, Doctor, I think that Mwangi Kiunjuri is not supposed to be in that office as the CS for Agriculture.
That one, I have said it time and time again.
So what does President Uhuru Kenyatta want us to do? To help him out. He allows a person like this to continue holding a very important docket in this country, and this person over and over again is proving that he's not the right person for that docket. What is President Uhuru Kenyatta still waiting for? Because he has the right to fire Kiunjuri, I believe. He does, as he's the appointing and firing authority. This is one of his CSs, so he should fire Kiunjuri. I mean, it's already way too late. He should do that.
You see, the problem that we have here, which you must know, is I have said and said time again, and this time let me be very candid. Maybe people will listen to me. I've told on national or TV, whenever I have been going, I think you heard me say, the government of Republic of Kenya has reached what we call fatigue evaluation. A fatigue evaluation exercise in political science. Those who did not study it, watch me. Time has come for us to speak out. Are we not? You're asking me a question. What do we do with the government? Does the President Uhuru Kenyatta see this? Is he not seeing this? Doesn't he know that there's fatigue evaluation? Time and time again we have told him the ministry is gone. All ministries are gone. Very few ministries except Matiang and some few. About 6 ministries. 6 to 7 ministries are workable.
Yes.
The rest are not. They are living on cliffhanger politics and intensive care unit. They are in sick bay. So when you have the entire system in the sick bay, what do you say? Haven't I said that? Fatigue evaluation. We did a program here. It is here on this television. It is on the Punchline Africa TV. that can bring out things that it is admired by so many people that they want even to copy our name. You know, that's very good. When you have a lady, a beautiful lady like Anne Chiguta coming up with our name, it's all right. It means she admires me and others.
She has a show with
on Punchline. Yeah, maybe she wants. She's a student. She can be a student. Yeah, I've brought out. They have seen the way I punch, the way I do things, which makes them think the Punchline name is very good. But whoever is trying to bring that scheme, Miriam, is trying to antagonize me with somebody's, a friend's person, wife, or whatever. So that is okay. I will leave it to Kenyans that if that's the type of politics, God pays very nicely. I thought of going to court. I don't want to go to court. I want the show to begin, and I want people to learn if you can copy Punchline and smuggle it into a collapsing agency called K24.
Oh, she's working for K24.
She's now going, yes. It's collapsed. So she's, you know, the K24 numbers on, they can't beat me online. My numbers are higher. You have seen that. You look at the shows of K24 online digital platform, and my numbers when they are doing a program. Look at it. Even now, open, and you see how many people have tuned in on digital platform. But Matsanga has the numbers on the digital platform. So if you are copying me, then you are a stupid editor like Opondo, who knows nothing but drinking and fighting with the women in nightclubs. Opondo is not worth to lead your television station. He's not worth it. He's a man who drinks, sleeps, even urinates in nightclubs. So for me, I'm not going to go to court. We shall go verbal and let people judge. I'm not going to ask Mr. Fernandez. When Opondo took over K24,
I think Fernandez left.
When Opondo took over K24, he came and told me Ruto had told him that I should not be on the show. Me, I solve my things like this. If you wanted me to fight the deputy president, he told me that the deputy president told him that I should be removed from that television. And I have got all the details of the money that he gets from Safaricom, from people who pay him to go on the programs. Opondo, you open the Pandora box. You don't know Matsanga. I'm going to bring you down. You will be jobless very soon. I don't know who the owners of this television station watching people, dismembering them. They are using the television station to enrich themselves. All the money on M-Pesa, you want to rub this. You don't touch some people. Don't leave them. Leave them. Because when I start on you, you won't leave. You will hide. Opondo told me that Dr. William Ruto told him that I should not be seen on the show because it is his new management. That's what he told me. And I left. Wasn't I contributing to this country? Wasn't I telling them redemption strategy? I was. Now they go to antagonize me more. They go and steal my name, Punchline. And they are giving it a name to a friend of mine's wife. You know, this type of things it's just to confuse us. But I will not fight for a small thing. I have the ability to stop it in court. But I will not. But I will move. You can, since it is the president is involved in it, I will not. He's my friend. I have talked to them already and told them. But I am with Opondo until we finish. Because this is a man who was sacked from Citizen brought into K24. Then the same day he told me that he had been told by Dr. William Ruto that I should not be on. And there is one person there who, 2 of them are my witnesses. We can go before His Excellency, the Deputy President, they will testify when he was telling me.
Maybe he was told.
Yeah, then let's finish it that way. Today I've brought it out, Sindio. I've brought it out. They told me to leave. I don't have any problem. Why would the Deputy President tell me to leave K24? What was I doing wrong? I was telling people about the redemption strategy. Isn't it the one they have copied and they used for BBI? Isn't it? Isn't it? Tell me, who had thought about it? It's me and my professionalism. Who was talking about building of bridges and the redemption strategy? What is the building of bridges? It's a redemption strategy. Who was talking about it? Masanga and Ian Wafula and the rest, 5 of us, Martin Ndati, and several other people. We are on the panel every morning. You wake up at 5 a.m. You are washing, showering, putting on a tie to go and serve for free. We are not being paid. We are doing it for free. And yet there was money to pay editors. We are not paid to pay guests for 2 years. And then the man came and told me that the Deputy President told him that I should leave. You see the rumor. I have nowhere to go and start asking the Deputy President, but here today I have said it. That's what Opondo said. Let you check him and ask, why did he tell the editors to take me out? Because the Deputy President doesn't want him. He doesn't want me. What have I done wrong? I stood by him in the ICC. Did I not? I sold my car to go and stand for him. Did I not? I fought Gladwell Odiero. Did I not? In front of 10,000 delegates for Rule 68 to be removed. Did I? Was it me fighting for myself? Chunga mdomo yenyu. Sina shida na mtu. Hata kama sina pale ya kuishi, itaishi, itaenda. Lakini mimi huwezi kulala kwa miti. Jameni, msifikirie namna hivyo. Mambo ambayo iko kwangu saa hii leo inaweza kuwa kwako kesho. Hata sisi wengine tulipitia hapo tu. Tulipitia hapo. So kwa leo msione Muganda mnamwambia maneno kila siku. Na nyenye kesho mnaweza kuwa namna hivyo. Kwa hivyo mjue namna hivyo wa Kenya. Mjue kabisa. Kesho utakuwa namna hivyo. Watu wengine waliambia sisi tuko wakimbizi. Makati ya 85, 86, 92 walikuja London, walipata mimi nimeshaingia London. Ndio nilisaidia hawa ku fill the forms. I helped them to fill even the forms. Thousands of them. Nilikuwa na ofisi. Did I discriminate people? But you can't discriminate the person. You follow him and tell lies. I've done my best. I've done my best. What I say here is going to happen. There is a regime change coming. If you see governors walking in the streets, senators, tomorrow, these children we are seeing in the university are going to walk in those streets. What are we showing to the public of this country? What are we showing to the younger generation? That it is very easy for us, if we have a problem, to walk in big numbers, leave our chambers, dignified people, become civil society instead of representatives. You are representatives where you can resolve the problem. You become civil society activists, moving with your suit. Some of you are too heavy even to walk in the streets of Nairobi, showing us how inept you are. It's a regime change. It's George Soros has brought the money here. The money is here. The security agencies must watch. Someone has screwed the parliament and the Senate. Murkomen used to work with Open Society Foundation. Check! Sasa natoboa leo. You be careful, you people. Be careful. People are picking money from George Soros. Be careful. Nobody wants Kenya to be on fire. I wouldn't. This is the only place that some of us think on African continent that we can survive. They are telling the Chief Justice, the deputy, not to resign. Because we shall support you. Be careful about this civil society. Oh, they have become leaders of majority. The record of Murkomen, Senator Murkomen, the record I have tells of a different record. If we release that record, if I did, Ruto would not talk to Murkomen. I swear before God. I'm swearing before you Kenyans. These are the people who sat down and wrote how to imprison them. Today they have given them jobs. NGO politics is here. And if we don't talk much, they are going to say we have, Matanga is, I'm not mad, war. I'm telling you, it is coming. Look at the way things are happening. The injury, the who, the food, the what, you go this way, the senator, the governors, they know there's no money, they still want to match. But if you go and ask them how much they have done with the money they want, or they have taken, zero. You saw the number of governors who have used their money in development. The rest has been used to carry their caricos and to hire helicopters to airlift caricos. Carico! One governor has six to seven caricos lined up all over the whole country. And picks a helicopter to go and service them. Then you blame Uhuru Kenyatta. What do you blame Uhuru Kenyatta for? Msione mtu namna hivi. Pale nilipitia refu sana. Na nyenye mnaweza kupitia hapo tu. Si ndio mnaanza kuharibu nchi yenu? Mnataka kuharibu nchi yenu. I'm just talking as a stranger in Jerusalem. This is your country. What is in Khartoum today? What have they done for 6 months? Nothing. Tear gas, bullets. That's it. You want to change a government? Look at the example in Khartoum. The generals are there crying now. International community is coming on pressure on them. We want Bashir before we recognize you. They need Matsanga. They need Matsanga. They are not going to call you. That's to show that I have a mark in international community. I have a mark. They need advice. The generals there need advice. I had finished. Bashir's case was gone. ICC was not touching it anymore. Because I found the truth. $17 million paid to Ocampo to indict by a Christian organization in the United States of America. Yay! NGO sent money to indict a Muslim in Khartoum. When I brought out that truth, everybody ran away and resigned. They resigned. Judge Fernandez, home. The registrar of the party resigned, of ICC resigned. The man of IOM resigned. I cornered them, arrest me. Arrest me because I've said the lies. They said don't bring him here. The chief prosecutor told them don't bring that guy here, Jamen. The guy will finish us. So if you think I am stupid, go ahead. Spoil your country. Not me. Spoil your country. This is a rehearsal for regime change. Any intelligence officer will tell you that. There is money poured here. There is money coming in slowly. This time, it's not coming from the position of civil society. Because civil society is very annoyed with corruption. So, George Soros has decided to pass money through politicians. Among these politicians making noise, there are 7 of them. 7 picking money from George Soros. 7. One of them goes on boasting that his constituency is the best. But when you look at the project, where the money comes from, he doesn't tell the government where this money comes from. You wait. Imambo itatoka. It's sad state. This type of behavior of running to court in mass, you can give your lawyer to go there. Why are you intimidating the judges? Is that not intimidation? That's intimidation of the judges. Which judge is going to rule against you when they have seen the whole senator group, 47 senators with suits and all perfumes mixed? Yeah. The judge, governors, 47 perfumes, Range Rovers, cars followed the type of traffic they cause in the town. They are all in the court. They intimidated the judges. Yet this problem can be resolved through arbitration. A simple mechanism can find its way. How much money do we have in the budget? Call the Minister of Finance, call the governor, chairman, call the treasury man, call the member, the Speaker of Parliament, Speaker of Senate, let them go to the summit. There is a summit to resolve those problems. And let facts be put forward. And then from there, they will come and explain to the people. As far as we are concerned, we have only 310 billion. Considering what we have done, let me give you a chance to go ahead with those leaks.
The ones on the front page of the Standard this morning, I don't know if our viewers are able to see that. So Uhuru Ruto aides clash over leaked letter. I was just reading it in the morning over the internet before he came here. It's very interesting. Letters all over the place. Of course, it was alleged to have come from the president's office, but they've come out to say no, they're not aware of this letter. And apparently, the letter was written in regards to seeking for advice from the, from the AG, about the standoff between the monies right now that the governors are asking for. And so, yes, a very interesting time. So if you want to read that, go to the Standard page 6, or you can find that online. So it says that staff based at State House and those from DP's office at Harambee House Annex in bitter exchange on authenticity of letters. This is interesting, and we're still dealing with the other letter. we're still dealing with. Well, the FBI is still here. They look at that, but it's very suspicious. I don't think all pointers does not really indicate that that letter came from the office of the president, but it even had the letterhead from the office of the president. So yes, there have been bitter exchange over that. So a leaked letter from the presidency advising the Attorney General on how to deal with the division of revenue bill row between the National Assembly and the Senate has sparked a furious exchange of words between top aides of President Uhuru Kenyatta and those of his deputy William Ruto. Yeah, so just get the details.
Let me tell you,
yes,
the agony of all this.
Yes.
You see, the agony of all these problems stem from one thing: cliffhanger politics. Cliffhanger politics. The cliffhanger politics that you see in Kenya. Both the leader of majority houses, where do they belong?
The same party.
The same Jubilee party.
The same house.
The same house.
Yes.
When we go to Jubilee party, they are allied to some section of Jubilee.
Different bedrooms in the same house.
Yes.
Yes.
Someone was talking of bedrooms in the State House, saying Raila is in one of the bedrooms. Then asked which other bedroom was the deputy supposed to be.
The other one.
They got annoyed. They started calling me names, a Ugandan. Like even if someone here is calling me a Ugandan, that Uganda is bleeding. Where is Uganda bleeding? If a country can even give certificates to cows, is it bleeding?
and we will talk about that because I have it here.
The country is giving certificates to cows.
Birth certificate.
Birth certificate. That such a country cannot be bleeding. I think you are stupid yourself, my friend, who has just written this.
The wonderful cows from
yes.
Nyankole.
No, all cows in Uganda will have certificates.
Certificates, yes.
You know, things start slowly, and
but doctor, birth certificate for
when
cows.
President Museveni was meeting Ugandans in Kenya,
yes,
I am not on that level to go and stoop low to that gathering.
Oh, I saw one of our viewers here saying he met.
Yes, he met them.
In Kenya.
I am not that level. I told you Museveni gave me 8 hotline numbers. I have them today. If I want something, I will call President Museveni. I will call him direct. I have them. He gave him himself. In 2008, they have not changed. At least 3 of them are working. Hotlines,
Doctor,
I have them.
Then we have a quick way to get that money.
Yes, and I have told him.
We should call one of those numbers today.
So when you waste your time, you say you are coming here to investigate on Matanga. I talked to the president. Now you are investigating what? I'm not a rebel. I'm not doing rebel activities. I'm a free guy. They wanted peace. I gave them the peace. I washed my hands like a Pontius pirate. I lost the money. The only problem I have with President Museveni, which I tell him every day, even on the phone, my money, I was not paid by the current Minister of Trade, who is called Chambade, who was the PPA, who was supposed to give me that money, whom we gave the invoices of $332,000 United States dollars. They paid me on the $48,000. That's it. And the man who paid the $47,000 is now an ambassador. He's around. Let him tell the truth to the president. I did not get that money. That's all I want. Otherwise, I've forgotten all about it. I am not on the status of going to I don't have anything wrong against Museveni. The others are forgiven. I walk free man. I don't have any problem. So when I am free to live anywhere, even in a river, if there was a house. I can go and live in Indian Ocean if there was a house underground. So that is it. I don't have any problem. The only problem is that money. Because I worked. Those were the allowances, not his, but allowances put there by the Juba, AU, EU, UN, where Chisano was also drawing allowance. I don't think Chisano is complaining about his allowance. Sonny Matsanga, who never got the allowance. And that's all. If he gives me that money, hallelujah, he can lead his country up to the time he wants. Because after all, he has brought security. One, good point. Ugandan security is there. It's formidable. None of the people I returned home are fighting. None. None. It will be their problem for them to resurrect anything there. I did a peace process. I'm not childish. So some of you children who pick this phone and write, I'm not childish. I did a peace process where a war had hit people for 22 years. Stopped it, all of it. It's gone. The country is back. The country is even giving certificates to cows.
Stop it.
So you blame me. You blame me for having brought that peace. Had I not risked my life to go to that place to look for that guy who caused the trouble, there would be no peace. I stood firm. I stood firm. Nobody will tell me I did not take part in it. Rugunda is my witness. President Museveni himself gave me mandate. I have letters from him in writing, in his signature with the seal of the Republic of Uganda. I have them. I have a letter from Gordon Brown, the Prime Minister of Britain, saying, go ye, try to bring peace. I have them sealed. I did not walk around just bumping in the forest. I had a mandate. That's it. So some of these lumpens and the malcontents writing things on social media, better know what you write, because you don't know what some of us have gone through. Don't expect me to be going where the president has come to do what, and do what now. Ask him what. He's a soldier, I'm a soldier. All of us trained, I trained. So do we want to fight? We fought, the war, it is over. I've told you I'm a member of Uganda People's Congress until I meet Obote. Is there any problem again? Until we meet Obote, wherever he is. It's gone, but I'll not change my party. Even if it remains with one member, I will be the one. You get my point? That's my position. The younger man has stolen my colors, our colors. This boy here, what is his name?
Bobby Wine.
Yeah, Bobby Wine. He has stolen our UPC colors. Red color was for UPC. So thank you very much, younger man. Promote UPC for me. Those are red colors. Why doesn't he think?
He's perhaps too young.
That's why we have kept quiet. Let him do it for us. He can be singing on our coronation days. Muchunge. Not everybody is foolish, Jamen. Yes. Obote was selling Chako in Kaloleni.
Here in Nairobi.
Yes. Matanga is here being laughed at by people. You never know. You don't know what God has kept for me. So don't laugh at people. Kagame was a taxi driver here. Give me 200 shillings, I drop you in Ngumo. I drop you here. Is he not the president?
He is the president.
So don't underrate people. You don't know. Each one has his destiny. If God has put me here, don't allege things that I don't know. I don't have any problem with the President of the Republic of Uganda. And the message, stop forcing me to do it. I don't want your calls, your people you send me. Don't. I'm not interested. You were eating with him, sort the problem you caused. I never sat down to write the laws that are eating me. I rejected these laws. Yes, I told them, I don't want to be a party. All these guys who are opposing the president today were the same ones who wrote these laws. Not Matanga. Not Matanga. I've been in exile since 1985, 27th July, Saturday morning, 10 o'clock, sunshine time. So I don't know. That's the time the president has been in power. So if you have worked with him, deal with your problem. Why should I've finished the other problem?
34 years.
Yes. I've finished. Imemaliza hiyo problem yenyu. Mudilo nayo. Staki. I was not a political commissioner of UPDF or NRA. I wasn't. I did not write the laws that are eating the Ugandans today. I did not change the constitution.
They did.
They did. So why do you come to me, do this, you are not, what? Don't try me. I've told you I can live in an ocean. Wacha niwaambie leo, I will not die. Mutasikia Matanga is somewhere again. Look at me. Look at this face. High flyer. God has given me a way out. And I told Bashir. I was in Khartoum. I told Bashir. Bashir told me that he had given the French to modernize Khartoum into canals and roads. I asked Bashir at the dinner table. I asked Bashir, are you sure? You are saying what? Oh, I've given them to do modernization of Khartoum city. I told Bashir, do you know that the French pay 70% of ICC salaries? And they are the ones who indicted you. The man almost collapsed. He called his Minister of Security to come and listen to my story. When I told him I filed this case, I found so many things. And then you are telling me you have given the French to do what? Contracts. You are going to be overthrown. I told him there's a regime change coming. This is 2017. April 2017, April 2nd, I was in Khartoum. Check the records and my location. At a dinner with Deputy Chief Justice Uhuru, who told me, when we got out of the bus, he told me, your seat is the other side. Have you seen how bad that woman is? After me telling the bus driver to wait for her, she told me, the bus, your seat is there, Amango there. When I went to sit there, the president sent the chief of protocol, chief of staff of State House of the Paris to look for David Matanga. I woke up, you see, with this body, to be woken up from the crowd, to be brought not on her table. Her table was number 17. My table was number 1. To sit near President Bashir. In fact, if it was somewhere, I would have done the fingers. But I respected myself. She looked at me, she couldn't believe where I was being taken. Ask Dr. Ojwang.
He said that
yes,
that is true, yes.
It's true, we are there. I was taken to the high table with the president. I'm the only African who has ever filed daringly. And I'm going to file on Tuesday, I promised you. Nigeria, hallelujah. I'm going to file one of the most devastating documents that will finish Buhari. He might not travel. He might go to hospital. The evidence, the killings, the tapes, the information I've gathered now, I have told them to send it to my London home so that nobody can finish me here. You know, the evidence I've got, Mr. Buhari, prepare your lawyers. I want to expose the whole world why Nigerians are being killed, why genocide is coming, why Obasanjo is crying, why everybody is crying, and nobody is doing something. That's what I am. So those who want to play pa here, play pa. Have no problem. President Museveni cannot tell you he has a problem with Matanga. If he tells it, God is going to come for him. Because I have no problem at all. The only problem I have is my money. The balance of $332,000 less $48,000. The balance is what I want. If they pay me that, you can lead Uganda in the ocean, give cows and chicken certificates. That's very good for you. I have no problem. At least you are doing something. He has done something for the country. I'm not going to stand and criticize my president for nothing. These some of the people who want me to criticize him, who call me a bad man, are the people who wrote the laws. Miriam, they wrote the laws. Besigye was a political commissioner, slaughtering people. Slaughtering people. detaining Obote's supporters are actually Luo, but because they were black. I don't want to cry tears. And today, they want to take over that country. Muache. Watch. I'm going to file an application in the International Criminal Court on the question of Biafra. And I will succeed. I will succeed on the question of Nigeria, the failure to curtail Boko Haram, whose warrants we can issue, and the ICC has not issued warrants of arrest for the Boko Haram. They are leaving Nigerians to be slaughtered, and I'm an African, I am going to go there. So Kenyans, don't allow this regime change to rehearse on your streets. The senators going on the streets, they are rehearsing. The governor is coming on the street tomorrow. Which group is going? Maybe nurses. You see, these people are picking a momentum.
Well, TSC is also headed to the court.
You see? Teacher Service Commission is in the court.
Over salary.
So Shoshoni is going to tell the teachers, Kuja!
They will come.
In big... So, this is politics of civil society created by Senator Murkomen, who worked for George Soros. Close the program and we go. If you have something, African news, read it. They will remember me for my voice. When I'm hungry, give me food. One day. But that is where I'm going to end. I'm telling you, Miriam, I'll end. Leave it. God help. I did it. This is how Kenya was in 2007 to 8. Nobody wanted to see Ruto. Nobody wanted to see Uhuru. Nobody wanted to see Mudaura. When you mentioned their names, every Kenyan on the street wanted to run away. I stood firm in the middle and I did what I could do. May God help me. I never victimized anybody. I just said the truth. It has set me free. ICC today is a laughing stock. And I'm backed by the Americans. So go and do what you want. Yes. What have I done wrong? Nothing. I'm backed. On ICC, I'm backed. Very fully backed. I'm even more liked. I tell the truth. That's it. It sets you free. Haven't the Americans seen that ICC is useless? It's now useless. Rainberger was here. Rainberg, Ambassador Rainberg was working with people I know, whom I know. I don't want to name you. Some of you have got jobs now. You are very busy pretending near to be the president. I have not told you that so, but try me. Rainberg was the one who actually planned all this, to take all these things with Ocampo and with Kofi Annan. They ran at night with the hand, with that envelope. But the envelope story is not finished yet. I'm going to compel the Attorney General of Republic of Kenya to go and fly and spend more money to come to that court somewhere in a state party to answer for that envelope. You hadn't seen my other side. I'm not cheap Omutata. Omutata is, if Omutata can make you run up and down here, what about a bigger Omutata? Yes. It's a right. It's the right of the people to know how did you come to a conclusion. African Union sent you to mediate. You never gave African Union the copy of the envelope. You ran with the envelope to keep to your masters in France to go and fix people. Is that justice? Another success which I've done very successfully. Last year I told the world that African Union is captured. You give sex, you get a job. Sex for job, job for sex. Corruption, espionage. I'm vindicated. Today, yesterday, African Union selected a panel. A panel. Even Matanga did not shout. Was this panel coming? No.
To look into those
exactly
matters.
And now look at the jobs. Hi. Hallelujah. I succeed. And it is in black and white. Nobody will say Matanga did not write. It is there on www.panafricanforumltd.com. Soma. Now they have selected a panel including the Chief Justice of Gambia. Didn't you see it yesterday? He's now on the panel to look into those. If I did not shout, was this going to be looked in? No. So I'm not a person you can intimidate easily. I'm a heavy banana, even to be rolled in the mouth, going by the size itself. I am very, 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 very concerned about, you know, what is wrong? The whole country is in a civil society mood. Civil society has kept off because they fight corruption. They have seen the men, the same men who have corruption scandals. When the dam money got lost, Malcolm brought the scandal of Mao Forest. He went there, camped there, cried over TV. Malcolm. Now he has seen the report is coming back. DCI is arriving today or tomorrow with DPP. They want to nick them. Nick them. Nick them. There is no escape, brother. Even if you bring in noise, the dam money, the water is going to burst. There was nothing in Torino, Milano, Rome. Now Dubai, the transaction in Dubai are so worrying.
The gold.
Gold, the money we withdrew. But this one of dam money,
because the DCI and the DPP had passed over Dubai to try and see if they could get with the man.
I think they are here now. That's why you see people hurrying to go to big crowd going to confuse us Kenyans. Because arrests are now there. The DPP will finally say, there you are. There's enough evidence. So people who say there was a bank guarantee, show us a guarantee bank. Where is the bank? Your pesa may be one.
And that's an interesting headline, Doctor, here in the morning on the Daily Nation. Duale Link Company is in 2.6 billion tender saga here. The headlines on Daily Nation this afternoon, I think, 19 minutes past noon there here in Nairobi. And what the Daily Nation continues to say is a Garissa Township Member of Parliament and Leader of Majority in the National Assembly produces passport of the alleged owner of Concordia Building and Civil Engineering Company Limited, but the signatures do not tally with those on tender documents. So the majority leader in Parliament there seems to be in another tender saga, and this should this be found to culpable, then he'll be contravening the laws that when you are a public servant, you're not supposed to be going into business with the government. So for 10 years now, allegedly this company has benefited from 2.6 billion Kenya shillings.
That's Duale's company.
But he's refuting it. He's come out and he tried to give the Daily Nation, according to the Daily Nation, some proof to prove that that is another Duale. But also the co-owner of that company has a name that is similar to Duale's brother that is well known. So there you go. That is in the Kenya's the Daily Nation here newspaper. You can go online. I think the story is also online and just get the details. So it's interesting what is really happening in this country. Interesting times in our country.
Very, very. Look at the magistrate in Mombasa. The one who released the Mr. Jenga, who raped a boy.
The boy in the taxi. But also...
But look, it is the law. In Kenya, let's even suspend this motion of the journalists and talk about, then you read your things. Miriam, let's enjoy this. Let's discuss this. To prove rape, something must be an organ. So the mouth is not an organ. Are you all right?
I'm listening. So this boy was allegedly raped by the taxi.
Oral sex is not penetration. Because in penetration, you will find semen. So in the mouth, what will you find?
So that is what the taxi driver did.
Yes.
Indecent.
He did oral sex
to the boy.
The magistrate, now based on the law, he said the mouth was not the organ.
But that is child. That is
not a sexual organ.
That is a child molestation.
No, the child molestation.
That amounts to that.
You know, the guy could be charged with sodomy. You know, the charge sheet is what matters.
Yes.
Because if you say there was rape, you can't prove rape. Because there were no semens. You need the semens.
Yes.
The mouth does not produce semens.
No.
There must be a sexual organ
involved
for you to prove
rape.
A rape. That's it. So what the prosecutor and the police should go back is to charge this guy with sodomy, which is in our laws. With sodomy, you can use it. Because with sodomy, is once you are doing oral sex, you might be forced to go and do the real one.
In court?
No. I mean, if the child and the driver and they could have gone further.
Yeah.
Depending on how the body reacts.
Yeah.
So that the sodomy could be qualified. Unaona mama?
But also, this thing, I see even a lot of mothers that I know, someone is busy, but they want their child to go for, say, a karate lesson. My son does karate. But I take him there by myself. I'm not putting my child in a taxi.
You see?
to take him because I'm busy. If you're busy, don't. And
viewers,
go pick your
viewers, one of the problems that our African countries will have, and I speak frankly, without fear of contradiction, is the menace that you get with Uber. And the government should come and help us. The City Council of Nairobi, please help the public. The Uber people have become a menace. They park everywhere. You don't know if you get out of your compound, there are several cars parked there. Can somebody in Nairobi get a place where this Uber in Westlands, in town, in this side, can they be somewhere where they don't, you know, given the rate of how thieves and how killers use cars to kill people, this Uber could be used to kill so many people here.
It's becoming a security.
You know what? It's an insecurity problem. The Uber is becoming insecure, not because when you are seated in it, you will be killed, but you don't know who has hired it to wait for people outside. You get out of the compound, any compound in London, in Nairobi, there are Ubers lined there.
Yes.
Some of them with darker glasses. You don't know who is inside. With a gunman or whatever. Police should do something. Sonko should do something. Jamen, these platforms are to talk about these things. You notice that is a very big security risk.
It is.
Uber surrounding a whole compound. You don't know which driver, who has emotions. Some of them are telling us on, you drive in his place, and he tells you he has only slept for 1 hour. So someone who has slept for 1 hour is going to kill you. When you tell me like that, I say, stop, how much can I pay here now? I go, I walk. Because you are going to sleep on the steering. And that's how accidents are happening. A Uberman tells you he slept on it for 2 hours. And he has come back. So the county council, enforcement departments, and the other agencies and the police, please work out something that can help with travelers. Because this is becoming a nightmare now. So many of them, the whole night, you find the Uber packed. 6, 10 of them surrounding the whole place. Why can't they be given a place where to stand?
And also in regards to that case involving the 13-year-old boy, I think parents need to be more vigilant. This is your child. You just can't trust your child with anybody. And I know Zachariah Mangoki said that is very normal in North America, yes, and it is becoming a norm here. But I wouldn't trust the life of my child with a stranger. No way. No way. If I'm too busy to take him there, he will not go, and that's it. That's it. So we should be more vigilant.
What is normal in North America?
Children just taking Ubers, and it's not.
Yeah, but there is rule of law. There is social contract in North America, sir. We don't have social contract in Kenya. Yes, do we?
No, we don't.
We have people collecting salary as social workers, but they are never in their place of work. I asked yesterday, who are these who are supposed to look after if the court has declared you? What are they called? There's a word for them.
Like what Esther Arunga has been given now, the parole.
Yes, parole. Somebody
needs to be there to
who is that? What is the name of that person? I got it last night and now it has gone away.
You're 64 years old. You're supposed to be
probation.
It's probation officer. You write it down so that you don't forget.
No, you have to forget. You are the one to remind me, my dear.
But you remembered it last night. I was not there.
You have to remind me.
So probation officer.
Probation officers. A country without probation officers, whose probation officers you can only see in Obado case.
Is there?
Yet they are supposed to follow all the cases. Now, if you want to ask probation officers, where Miss, the woman of NIS 2, where is he? Where is she?
Girita.
Yeah, no, all of those. They were supposed to sleep in county number 47. But they sleep in Naivasha and they come very early in the morning here. It's the work of probation officer. Medium,
Yes.
thank you very much. You take over the African news. The topic that we wanted, we shall do it tomorrow.
Later on, all right. So do we take a break or we just continue? I think we just continue.
You continue?
Yes.
And I am here to take lessons.
All right, so thank you so much. It is about 12, nearly, it's 12:30 now here in Nairobi, and let me just bring you up to date with what is happening across Africa. We start with South Africa, where South Africa's Deputy Chief Justice Raymond Zondo on Wednesday adjourned until Friday morning a public inquiry into state corruption after lawyers of Zuma's former President Jacob Zuma's lawyer said he was being questioned unfairly. Zuma's lawyers have argued that the inquiry lawyers should not cross-examine the former president because they saw evidence given by other witnesses does not directly implicate Zuma in corruption and fraud. We go to Ethiopia, where activists in Ethiopia were set to declare a new region for their Sidama ethnic group on Thursday in defiance of the central government, with some residents of the southern city of Hawassa worried that it could lead to violence. And in the Democratic Republic of Congo, the World Health Organization declared the Ebola outbreak in the DRC to be a public health emergency of international concern, saying the recent risk of its spread in the city of Goma and into Uganda have increased the threat. And in Kenya, the war on betting reached a new height on Wednesday when its Interior Ministry ordered the deportation of 17 foreign directors of betting firms operating in the country. The deportation order comes almost a week after ordering telecoms firm Safaricom to stop processing payments for sports betting firms. And still in Kenya, Uber drivers in the capital Nairobi have gone on strike because of what they describe as low wages and poor working conditions. In a statement, Uber say they are putting in place mechanisms to address the concerns of the drivers. And in Uganda, all Ugandan cows are to receive birth certificates to allow them to be more easily traced in order to comply with European Union regulations, according to the Daily Monitor. Countries producing food for the European market must provide proof of traceability, said Mr. Vincent Senjimpija, the Minister for Agriculture, Animal Industry and Fisheries, on Tuesday. He also said that products from Uganda were being impounded and banned from the EU. And still in Uganda, the International Criminal Court Appeals Chamber has confirmed the charges against Ugandan rebel leader Dominic Ongwen, dismissing his challenge of the case. The decision on Wednesday means Ongwen will stand trial for 70 counts, plus other additional charges of crimes against humanity committed in northern Uganda when he was deputy leader of proscribed group, the Lord's Resistance Army. And in Zimbabwe, government spokesperson Nick Mangwana says what appears to be a leaked audio tape of country's First Lady Auxilia Mnangagwa has been doctored. A privately owned newspaper Newsday reports the audio recording, which has been widely reported in the local media, is of an alleged phone call between Mrs. Mnangagwa and a top army commander that appears to show cracks between the military and the First family. But Mr. Mangwana told Newsday that information he received was that there is a lot of manipulation and simulation of the First Lady's voice. In the 8-minute recording, a woman who sounds like the First Lady tells the man not to kill her because she has children. The woman, who is referred to as Your Excellency by the man, is berating, accusing the military of spying on her, asking what they want from her and where they are taking the information. And on Uganda and Tanzania, now sugar and edible oil originating from Uganda remained locked out of the Tanzania market more than 6 months after a ministerial meeting held at the Mutukula border agreed to allow free movement of these products between the two countries. This is one of the issues that will be up for discussion at a Tanzania-Uganda Business Forum to be launched in Dar es Salaam by President Yoweri Museveni and John Pombe Magufuli of Tanzania on September 4th. And the latest from Sudan is that Sudan's protesters and ruling generals yesterday inked a power-sharing deal, paving the way for a civilian administration in a key demand of demonstrators since President Omar al-Bashir was deposed in April. That has been the key demand. Now, the two sides initialized a document called the Political Declaration. An AFP correspondent reported saying that after intense talks through the night over final details of the agreement, the deputy chief of the ruling military council, Mohammed Hamdan Dagalo, who initialed the deal on behalf of the generals, told AFP that the agreement was a historic moment for Sudan. Now, the overall accord stipulates that a new transitional civilian military ruling body be established in a bid to end the country's months-long political crisis. The governing body will have a total of 6 civilians and 5 military representatives. The 6 civilians will include 5 from the umbrella protest movement, the Alliance for Change and for Freedom and Change. And in Burundi, press freedom advocates are coming down hard on Burundi after increasing restrictions prompted the shutdown of BBC and its bureau in the Central Africa country this week. Burundian authorities have also suspended Voice of America from operating in the country since March and have threatened sanctions against Radio France International. British public radio broadcaster BBC closed its operations in Burundi after it failed to reach an agreement with the government on airing of programs. The broadcaster's Africa business editor Larry Madow said on Tuesday that efforts to resolve a dispute over the ban on BBC transmissions in March have failed. And in South Africa, 7 civilians and 1 United Nations peacekeeper have been reportedly killed. Not in South Africa, but in South Sudan, 7 civilians and 1 UN peacekeeper have been reportedly killed in an attack on the disputed border region of Abyei. The deputy administrator of the Abyei administration area, Con Manyeth, said armed men attacked Amiet market on Monday night, and Manyeth also said that the attackers killed 2 men, 2 children, and 3 women. And we end also with South Sudan, where the demarcation of border points between South Sudan and Kenya is said to commence in 90 days. Capoeira State Minister of Information has said last week leaders of the Turkana County in Kenya and Capoeira State of South Sudan signed an agreement to solve border conflicts between the 2 countries. In the meeting held in Capoeira, the leaders unanimously agreed to support the boundary delimitation and demarcation MOU that was signed between Kenya and South Sudan. The foreign ministers in Nial Ndeng Nial and Cabinet Secretary Monica Juma from Kenya signed the MOU last month in Nairobi. So that is just the latest from Africa this morning. Of course, wonderful news. Ugandan cows now will have birth certificate. We've talked about that. So that will
Why are you?
Because I found it very like it. I've never heard of this before.
No. EU regulations
but it's
say
important, yes.
The cows must be marked.
Yes, indeed.
If a Mzungu knows when the cow was born, how long it will stay. So that's why they are very specific, which is not very bad. So don't blame them.
Yes. That is very good news. So that will improve Uganda's export of, the meat and, of course, the products, the byproducts of the cows to the EU market. So that is very good. That will improve. So now Ongwen is set now to stand trial for 70 counts of, I think we've talked about that, but yes, the ICC said he has a case to answer and dismissed, what his lawyer had asked for this case.
The lawyer is the one who was here.
Oh, really?
Yes. The one who passed here with. Yes. That's the leading lawyer. So I will not have any comments.
Okay. I understand.
I will leave it. I don't know why they delayed so much to appeal. They should have asked her for advice so that they appeal at the confirmation stage and make presentation at the confirmation stage. That's all I can say for now.
Okay. All right. So Zimbabwe, there seems to be another audio. People nowadays are getting very interesting. And apparently the First Lady, Auxilia Mnangagwa.
I listened to...
I've not heard it.
I listened. I will send it to you.
Okay.
The only problem, it is in Shona.
So I can't really understand.
Yes. It's in Shona. But with the apps which are available today, anybody can bring your voice to his voice and the location and they say they were talking. So it is there. It's true, Miriam.
Okay.
Yes.
But of course the office of the president
but
has come out to say...
The audio, I think I can to some extent agree with Nick Mangwana. But the Zimbabwe situation is critical. The security agencies in Zimbabwe seem not to be aware of so many obstacles. When I released their report of how George Soros pays people and the agencies surrounding in the surrounding countries is when they will know the truth.
All right.
Yes.
Okay, and of course Sudan, I think it was a breaking news yesterday before he left the show, before he ended the show yesterday, and they've agreed that the generals and the protesters, they're agreeing, so that is a good thing. I'm happy.
General Daglo, Hamed Dagalo, is a very good general. It's a very hard battle-hardened general. I think the regime is relying on him. The army relies on him. So to avoid Sudan going the way Libya has gone, I think that agreement is welcome. And we thank them, hope it will consolidate the unity government, transitional government that will work. Yes.
And of course now Matiang'i make good his threat and he has deported 17 foreign directors of betting firms.
Yes.
Yes.
The betting, one of the things that I've never done
It's
is
betting.
smoke a cigarette, bet, to smoke a cigarette, never.
Smoking a weed,
Anything
smoking.
smoking, never. Anything to do with betting, never. Even in character, this, you cards, play, no.
So you just pass by casinos, you don't enter.
I don't want even to see them. I'll tell you a friend of mine, I hope he's watching, Dr. Obita.
I think you shared it. Who had the money for the piece?
Yes, it is him.
He went to the casino.
Yes, and finished the money.
Okay.
And then even when I was calling his phone, the phone was taken by the casino because he borrowed the money against the phone. So betting is a very bad exercise for any country
It's a
in
bad
Africa.
and it's an addiction.
It's addictive. It can make people not to work. It makes people think of a society or where you can gamble and get money and don't work hard. So I am not in for anything.
Yes, I agree with you. I'm with you on that. It's one of those things habits that is not very, it's not very healthy. And the youth in this country, I get very sad when you see somebody riding boda boda the whole day, getting tired, only to get all this money and go back.
And then go back to the machine.
It doesn't make any sense. I mean,
it's very addictive. You pour in money, it says more. It will bring more until.
And the people who are highly addicted are the young people who don't even have good jobs. So they're enriching these very few people. And you'd seen some foreigners had seen there's a gap in this, and they came in and they took advantage. And now, because a lot of these leading betting firms, their owners are not even Kenyans. So I think it's a good move. So, but of course, the bettors up there might not agree. But yes, this was becoming a nuisance to this country. It still is. We thank you, our viewers. Frank Muya saying probation officer makes sure the offender follows the court's verdict without missing it. You don't follow the verdict, you're taken to custody or such, violating the law. Thank you so much. Yes, Bol Yang, you're saying you're watching us from Australia. Good evening to you. Oko Ajak, you're saying Oko agrees with you in matters betting, and I agree with you, Doctor, in matters betting.
Yes. So any other
someone is asking here, Ombesh author, where does one complain towards mistreatment of Uber drivers? I think they have their offices in every country that Uber is present. They have their offices there, so I think you can go there if you know the driver, and of course you have their numbers. You can go there and complain. And Kwampa, you're saying Kelechuku, you're watching us all the way from Mauritania. Thank you so much. The rest of you who have been talking to us this morning and afternoon.
Thank you. We have a topic on the media and how patriotic it is, but we postponed it. We shelve it, Miriam, until tomorrow.
All right.
So that we can have ample time
to prepare.
I'm sorry, some of the things took a new twist. We have to tell some people off so that we protect our name, our territory, and our name. Someone has seen our name is doing very well, and they go to plant themselves as if us. So the forms have been done, and let's take it from there. Thank you very much. Otherwise, Miriam, myself, we want to call it a day. We are well organized. We look like champagne toasting.
I don't. I only take milkshake. Very boring like that.
We shall be going to taste milkshake. Miriam looks like she needs to be taken out for milkshake.
Milkshake. I don't even do ice cream.
So milkshake today.
What I'm trying to tell you,
I'm going to buy you milkshake.
Doctor, what I'm trying to say, I'm very easy maintenance. So I'll see you. We'll see you tomorrow.
No milkshake. Tell them a goat is going to kill me.
A goat.
And then there's another guy. What is he called?
George.
George, where has George gone of late?
I don't know.
Yes. They need to see you all the time. I'll do that, my dear sister. I'll send Moses to buy milkshake for her.
Milkshake for a 35-year-old lady. Interesting. But we'll see you tomorrow.
For the lady. She doesn't know she's liked. Thank you very much.
Yes.
God bless you, and God bless all of you. We meet tomorrow.
Good.
Thanks.
Peace must be our goal and our guide. And all that we strive for as a human family, dignity and hope, progress and prosperity, depends on peace. But peace depends on us.
First of all, let me thank you. I've prepared 2 papers which I believe will be circulated because they'll not be projected. But if you can see, first of all, I want to agree with the Honorable Minister. I've done 2 pictorials. One of them is described as Africa at the dinner table. And if you look at Africa at the dinner table, Africa is on a plate and it is meat. And the diners at the dinner table are France, the United Kingdom, the United States, the European Union, the Chinese, and progressively the Arabs. And my second picture is the African hotspots. It's not visible from there. But if you look at Africa today and you make a clean sweep with your mind, there are different conflicts of different intensity in Somalia, in northern Mauritania, in northern Mali, in Central African Republic, Democratic Republic of Congo, Guinea-Bissau, in the Cameroons, in South Sudan, and one can go on and on. And there is a sense in which Africa has always been alive to the question of interference. I will refer this audience, particularly those who are starting, to take time and read the 32 odd speeches that were made in the month of May 1963 by the then heads of states and government of independent African states, the 32 of them. And there are 2 speeches that I want to isolate for this presentation. One was by David Dacko of Central African Republic. And in thanking Emperor Haile Selassie and Kwame Nkrumah on that day, he said that we must never forget that the colonial power has not left us. We must recognize that he did not go willingly. And if we don't check them, they'll come back again. And what would little Central African Republic do against them? Today, he is right. Today, if we remember the activities of France and how they have propped up the regime of Jean-Bedel Bokassa, he was right. Today, as the Honorable Minister has indicated, Africa remains the only continent in the world that is referred to in these terms, Anglophone, to mean that we are a sphere of our erstwhile colonizers. About 2 weeks ago, there was a meeting of the Commonwealth in London, England, and a friend of mine who is an Anglophile sent me the photograph very gleefully, saying this is a meeting of 53 equal states. I told him, no. If it was so, why is it that the leadership of the Commonwealth is hereditary rather than rotational? In other words, in the minds of the British, her former colonies are still under her tutelage. And I want to submit to us that in the minds of what I'll call the conceptual West, they think they have a divine duty to instruct Africans what to do.
True.
And in the minds of many African leaders, they think that they have a divine duty to accept what they are told. That, in my view, is what the Honorable Minister was talking about, the mindset. And this is something that has been examined. We have seen France and its very pernicious presence in Africa. We know what they did in Burkina Faso against Thomas Sankara. We know what they did in Mali or the Sudan against Modibo Keita or against Sekou Touré in Guinea. Pernicious to the core. The Portuguese, we know what battles had to be fought in that area. And let me put this very bluntly. When the former leader of Portugal, Marcelo Caetano, was asked, why can you not allow the colonies to gain independence? This is what he said in substance. As I have examined world history over the years, the following have emerged: that the Caucasians have been responsible for monumental discoveries in the development of man. So have the Chinese, so have the Arabs. But the Africans have been responsible for nothing. They are only fit as hewers of wood and drawers of water. And I want to submit to you who are present here that in the conceptual West's unguarded moments, or guarded moments, that is what they think. And that is how they relate to Africa. So the whole idea that they will interfere is something that they think is their God-given duty. I said there were two speeches in 1963 that I wanted to refer to. I referred to David Dako. The second one was the speech by Kwame Nkrumah. And Kwame provided the solution. He did not complain about colonialism. He said, we must live here with one army, with one command. We must live here with one currency. We must live here with one currency, one country. I do not know where its capital will be, but I suggest Leopoldville or Bangui. Other leaders may have their thoughts. Kwame was right, but who listened to him? Several years down the line, and I've said it in my paper, there were coup d'etats which were engineered, there were mutinies which were engineered, and other forms of destabilization. And I want to believe that the person who actually said it very well in the 1980s was the former American President Ronald Reagan. He said, the United States of America does what is in her best interest. And I agree with him. Does Africa do what is in her best interest? Do African leaders do what is in the best interest of Africa? Interference will be there in very blatant and brazen ways and in subtle ways. I've always asked, until very recently, how many African countries manufactured bullets? Very few. Until very recently, how many African countries, in fact, how many African countries manufacture jet fighters? How many African countries are involved in the arms industry? Some of the leading conceptual West countries which pontificate to us about prizes, peace prizes, are the leading manufacturers of landmines. And if you look at their foreign exchange earners, it is the military and security items. So they say with their mouths, what do they not believe in their hearts? In Kiswahili we say, vita vya panzi furaha ya kunguru. That when the locusts are fighting, it is the joy of the hawk. Because when they kill each other, they get the food easily, dead. It is in the best interest, I dare submit, without fear of contradiction, that the elite in the conceptual West does not want Africa to stabilize, despite their assertion to the contrary. And you'll see it in every country because conflict is a major industry. Today, you look at South Sudan and the many peace conferences that are being held. But if you ask who supplies the arms, who provides safe havens, it is the conceptual West. And when I use the term conceptual West, I'm saying that it extends to countries which are geographically not in the West, like Australia or Canada. So I'm submitting in answer to your question, Joe, that interference is there, and it is part, to use this old cliche, of the neo-colonial project. The neo-colonial project requires that Africa must remain within the sphere of influence of these states. Today, if you look at the United Kingdom, which has left Europe, one would have thought that those are their cousins and that they should sit in comfort with them. You will now see their involvement being de-emphasized in Europe and their interest and appetite growing towards the Commonwealth. Because in the Commonwealth, they are the major domos. They'll tell us what to do. In Europe, they have to grapple with the Germans and the French, and they don't like it. That is the unspoken bit of it. The French also are in Europe, but the Germans are too strong, and they don't like it. So they want to hold Côte d'Ivoire, Gabon, and tell them what to do. I do not know how many of you saw the press conference that was attended by President Macron of France and Nana Addo of Ghana. And when Nana Addo spoke as an African should, you could see the body language of the French president. How dare this man speak this way? In other words, I'm saying that interference is the mother's milk of European economies. But to answer your second question, they have their own recruits who Professor Philip Nying'ura will be speaking here. To use the old vocabulary of those days, they are the people you call their comprador bourgeoisie. You must remember. The comprador bourgeoisie are Africans with black faces, but essentially they are doing the bidding of these powers. They are the ones you'll find them in different spheres. And they will be present. They are in your cabinet, but they are actually representatives of the foreign intelligence agencies of those countries. We know this. If you look at the declassified papers from the United States, we now know that some of leading cabinet ministers in many African countries were working for the CIA or some Western agencies. So you are sitting in cabinet, and in these days of the mobile phone, they are possibly texting their masters in Europe and America. So interference is also exacerbated by these comprador bourgeois for their own benefits. And it has never changed, Honorable Minister. In the early days of slavery, they gave some of the chiefs mirrors and alcohol. Today, what they give them are flats in Paris or in Dubai. And that is what makes them undermine Africa. The third mode of interference is through institutions. Look at the competition as it is now. There is a new entrant into the market that is called China. China is very subtle. Many people wrote the obituary of Rwanda in 1994. 20 years down the line, it has been demonstrated that Africans can actually do it. Between 1983 and 1987, I think Thomas Sankara in Burkina Faso also demonstrated that it can be done. We saw in Somalia, despite their problem. So my prescription is African unity. Africa must now begin to negotiate initially in terms of blocks, SADC, ECOWAS, East African Community, and ultimately as African Union. And lo and behold, we must do it. And I've always said this cliche, we must do it, because if we don't do it, we will be done. Thank you.